Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 174. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With this week is Messiah.
Hello.
And Izzy is unfortunately out of town. Actually, I think he's flying back today, but he won't be able to make it. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot that happened this week. I tried to go through and save some stuff, but it was kind of all just fallout from Gamescom. Hands-on previews for stuff, which is fun to see and read up on. But it's not really a thing to talk about the podcast. I read someone's hands-on. The hands-on people will talk about it in their own whatever podcast they're on as well. But there was some fun stuff I saw that hopefully more people get to talk about. Especially there was a hands-on preview for Atomfall. That's the game from them, and it's a it's open world kind of alt history situation going on. I don't know if you remember this trailer, and they're talking about how when they originally designed it, it kind of was like a post-apocalyptic RPG kind of setup. But then I'm nah, we kind of don't want to do that because that's kind of what everybody else has done. We don't want to just be hey, we're a British Fallout, in an alternate timeline or whatever. But so they instead try to make the quests more mystery based, clue based. They talk about one instance of getting a phone call from someone saying this person has to die, and then they hang up, and now you're investigating wait, what, why, and you go that triggers the quest, find out who this is, find out who wants to kill him, why they want to kill him, kind of do the quest that way. So it sounds interesting because I was interested in the game to begin with because it's Rebellion, but I reading the preview, I was this could play pretty well, more like a detective survival game, kind of hybrid. That could be fun. But yeah, lots of previews. There's also leaks of PS5 Pro Leaks, allegedly the name, which is going to be called PS5 Pro, and then the design. It looks a lot like the Slim, but with a little more accent on the kind of the centerpiece where the bay over the drive comes off. That's that gaps between the two halves of the shell's a little bigger, but no spec stuff. And apparently everybody at Gamescom's on the floor was talking about it. It was a open knowledge that they're assuming it's going to be announced this month. So it's the first as we're recording. So we'll see if they announce it. And I have no idea, because I'm not playing as much multiplayer as I did when the PS4 Pro came out. I don't see myself getting the PS5 Pro unless I don't know. It's at least when I got the PS4 Pro, I think I traded in one of my PS4s and got it a discount from GameStop. A decent one too, not hey, here's $5. So I could see maybe if it was trade in my PS5, get a PS5 Pro, and it just pay the difference, maybe. But I don't know what they'd have to do to for me personally to want to get it. But if I was playing because at least when the PS5 Pro came out, I was playing Battlefield 1 that played better, had higher FPS in that game on PS4 Pro. Obviously, Horizon came out, played that on PS4 Pro. It looks better. You get the checkerboard rendering, and all the Sony first party stuff looked better. But we're so far along in the life cycle of this console now, coming up on 4 years. I'm and it takes so long for game development. I'm I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel you haven't really fully tapped the PS5. At least the checkerboard rendering up to 4K was a nice introduction with the Pro, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. Maybe if enough games are oh, it runs really well, yada yada, I could say okay, maybe, but it's kind of wait and see. But again, just a bunch of leaks. Hopefully this month they can finally talk about it so we can get past it.
I mean, the only thing that made me get a PS4 Pro was I got the God of War one. So it's I had the regular PS4 up until that point, and then it was oh, here's the special edition God of War one with all the decoration and everything. I was okay, I'll go ahead and get that one because it only comes in Pro, so why not?
Yeah.
But that's now the only reason that I have a PS4 and a PS4 Pro. I didn't care about the performance necessarily because that's not really something that I notice or super pay attention to unless it's really, really bad. So it's okay, are you going to come out with a super cool PS5 Pro? Because I haven't really seen very many special edition PS5s that are actually available.
Yeah, and they're
Most
not
of them are hey, you have to win this in a contest or it's $1,500.
Yeah, and there's no I thought there would be way more faceplates on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
Hey, here's one for Spider-Man. Here's one. They had the I think they had Spider-Man faceplates if I remember, but there's just not a lot or even custom faceplates. Just go on there and have a design like, oh, we'll give you the logo to like this franchise you really want, or like something from Horizon or something from Ghost of Tsushima, like the a Firefly logo or whatever, and like black and the Firefly logos and like it's like gray with the black spray painted Firefly logo or something like that. Like they haven't done that much stuff, which is kind of surprising. But like they've done colors, that's fine. Just no real collectible stuff. But
I fully expected like special editions of games to come with faceplates, especially when they went after what is it, DS brand or something like that.
D-brand, yeah.
D-brand, yeah, for making the faceplates. Because they were like, oh, we're going to start making our own faceplates, and here's the colored ones that are coming out first. But I fully expected like, oh, if I buy this $300 edition of this game for PS5, it's going to come with a special faceplate or something. And they just don't, because that's like extra production or something. But they don't even offer it on the store. It's like, well,
Yeah.
why did you why did you go after this place that's making custom faceplates that look better than yours if you're not actually going to do anything about it?
Yeah.
So it's like, why do I care? I haven't even put stickers on mine because it's like shoved off to the side, but it's like, I could just put a sticker on this and it would be better than what you offer in the store.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like maybe if the pandemic didn't happen, like then we'd see more, customization options, because they do it on the controller side. Like there's a lot of custom controllers. The Astrobot controller's coming out. That looks pretty nice. They've had a lot of nice controllers, but yeah, just not as many. Like, and granted, they do have a lot of colorful faceplates that you can buy, but just not as many custom ones. I feel like maybe they would have gotten harder if the pandemic wasn't a thing. Perhaps I feel like more people would have more, extra money to spend on that kind of stuff. But and then the only other thing news I had here is so Star Wars Outlaws came out this week. It launched on Friday, but if you bought the season pass, you got to play it early, like on Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. A lot of season passes are doing that nowadays. And they had a patch on PlayStation 5 on launch day, but for people that played the game early on PS5, it like corrupted the save, so you couldn't load your save anymore, so you just had to restart your game.
Oh no.
And they offered like just a bunch of, e-tchotchkes for like, okay, here's some extra points and cosmetic stuff, like as the solution, like because there's no other workaround. And it's just like, man, that's gotta suck. Like I wasn't that hardcore to wanting to get it, but I was like, dude, if I got it early and then just had to lose a bunch of progress, that would be super obnoxious. But I get the benefit is at least you can go back quick, but still it's like because typically the people that do that usually have the time to play ahead of launch. So it's like, that's gotta be rough. But
if you had like hours of progress, like if you took the day off or just like planned to like, I'm just going to make as much progress as I can in this game this day, it's like, now it's all gone. That seems like a hell of an oversight.
Yeah, it was rough. But yeah, not much else in the news. I know I'm not going to go into details for it here because I'm going to wait for it to progress. But the union staff at Call of Duty developer Raven Software filed a bad faith complaint against Microsoft and Activision over that. So I was like, okay, so we'll see what happens with that. And then apparently the Greedfall 2 devs are going on strike, saying that they're being treated like shit by management, by studio management. So we'll see.
No surprise, but at least they get to do something about it now.
How that progresses, yeah. I did see I don't have it saved, but and I'm blanking on his name. I'm gonna have to look it up and then cut this out because I'm just Googling it. But okay, let's see. Okay. I did see an article saying that, it was from Bloomberg, from Jason Schreier, saying that. So a while ago, Chris Barrett, who is the former Marathon director at Bungie, he was let go, and people are all concerned, like, what's going to happen with Marathon? Is it in trouble? Yada yada. And I'm like, why is he let go? And then he got replaced with someone else, but he was fired over misconduct at the site. Like there was a bunch of HR complaints, sexual harassment complaints against him, so that's why they let him go. So I'm like, okay, well in that case, get out. Like
big oof.
Yeah, just get gone.
Just go.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm curious how that game's going to do. Man, I'm really interested. So like we talked about last week that Concord isn't doing numbers on Steam, and I think there was a report saying reportedly it only sold across both PS5 and Steam about 25,000 units. And I'm like, I feel like I'm curious what's going to happen with like Fair Games, which is the Haven Studio one, which is from Haven Studios, of course, the Jade Raymond studio that started up, and how that's like a PvP VE like heist game. Maybe that could do better because it's not, the art style's a little different, and that could be fun. Like it's more like a payday type game, but with other players trying to steal the currency as well. And there's a lot of games like that. Like the Finals has a mode that's essentially like that, where it's like you're just trying to get the money back to your bank to deposit it, but people are trying to fight you for the money to, yada yada. So it's kind of a similar concept. But I'm curious how it's going to do. Like if Concord doesn't do well, and they purchased Firewalk, to bring in under the PlayStation Studios, I wonder what that means for the other live service games that Sony has put money behind. And then what's it mean for, like, Marathon obviously could do better because Marathon has a legacy and it's Bungie. They did say one of the things when they swapped directors is that they were moving away from character customization and instead having kind of like preset character like legends or types, like heroes, I guess. So I'm curious how that'll go. I mean, I don't really care. I don't need to like customize that kind of stuff, whatever. So that could change it for players. Maybe they can add customization later, but it seemed like they were kind of changing the dev focus, probably just to help speed it up, dev time, because you figure the quicker they can get out, the better. But yeah, I feel like if Concord had come out maybe sooner and didn't take so long, it would have been in a better spot. But yeah, I wonder what that means for. Also, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of marketing for it. Now, granted, I don't see YouTube ads because I have premium, and I don't watch content that has ads that would normally be a place that I would see. And I don't watch sports. So like, football season's starting or whatever. And it's like, okay, you could see it at the game or like a basketball game or, or in baseball, stuff like that. Like that's where a lot of the games marketing goes, but I don't watch those things. So I don't know if they're there. You know what I mean? The only things
I don't have YouTube Premium, so I do see ads, but I feel like I've never seen an ad for this game. I've never seen it on YouTube. I've never seen it on Twitch. I don't recall seeing it like on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. But to be fair, I skip the ads for YouTube as soon as I possibly can because I seem to get stupid same mobile game ads constantly. So who knows?
Yeah, and it's like I did see like they posted a bunch of videos leading up to launch, like showing character trailers, like, hey, here's each of the characters, what they do. Like, okay, they push marketing that way on their own channel. I just haven't seen it anywhere else. So I'm curious what the lifespan will be for this game. Because it has some interesting lore too, but it's like you have to dig for it. Like they have like this star map that you can go to and kind of like read the lore on each of the characters and the different factions and like the universe. Like that's interesting stuff. But when you have to read it, it's like that's kind of one of the issues people had with the first Destiny, right? It was like, oh, there's a lot of cool lore, but it's like in these codex that you have to read, and it's like, okay,
I don't have time to tell you about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have time to tell you why I don't have time because there's wizards on the moon. But it's just like, man, you have all this interesting lore, but it's locked behind all this stuff and yada yada. And yeah, but I'm curious how long it'll last. I mean, I've played it for. Let me open up Steam. Steam is like, I don't want to open. Like I've played it for about. Where's Concord? There it is. I played it for 13 hours so far. And I'll get my money's worth out of it, for sure. Like, I mean, because this is kind of how I do with multiplayer games. Like, I'll play them for a while, and then kind of bounce. But I I play them. I'm like, okay, I've clearly done enough. If I have friends that play it, like the last time I played with a streamer who I was following, kind of chat with. Like, he's very like open. Like, hey, if anybody in chat wants to play this game, just hop in, we'll play. So like, join his Discord, top in a voice chat. We had like a full squad the other day, and that was fun. But yeah, it's like I'm curious how long it'll be up. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of players actively playing because it's only a 5v5 game. That's one thing. But then it's like, I'm curious when you hit that tipping point, then if it being like, there's no ranked matchmaking. So, and if you play with a full squad, you're typically going to wipe the other team if they're not. Because most people aren't using their mics. And there is a ping system, but the ping is on the touchpad for whatever reason. And then, I mean, it makes sense because your abilities are R1 and L1, but it's like, I wish that ping button could be somewhere else. And then, obviously, if you have a Pro controller on the PS5, you can just put it on one of the back paddles and be done with it. But, yeah, I'm curious how long, because the queue times aren't too bad. I think the queue times for there's like one more, like a more competitive mode where it's like when you die, you don't respawn. It's a little more kind of, I think there's like plant a bomb. So it's very similar to kind of Counter-Strike. And then I forget what the other mode is. But I don't think many people are queuing for that one. So it literally takes a long time. But the queue times for the just team deathmatch modes and the control point modes just isn't that bad. So, and again, it's fun to play, especially in squads. But like even solo, like I'm not. I haven't hit that point where I'm like, okay, I'm done playing this game solo. Like I can't deal with trying to carry the team, or people not playing the objective or something like that. But yeah, I'm wondering how much time Sony's going to put into it, and how they're going to kind of rethink a lot of their, because obviously they started this whole live service push like a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like the landscape isn't, it's changed a bit. It's like it's not quite there anymore. Like I don't mind, like we've had big conversations about this. Like I don't mind having a live service or a multiplayer game, be your thing, especially if they have like, again, going back to our conversation, they have like multiple different types of these multiplayer games. So it's like, okay, for me, only one of them has to stick. And so far, I'm enjoying Concord. But it's like, maybe I'll enjoy fair games more. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll I will like Marathon. Maybe I won't. And it's like, okay, as long as one of these hits for me, that'll be fine. Because it's like, okay, you're just giving me essentially a bunch of options. Like, hey, which one do you think is good? You enjoy playing, just play that one. And then again, maybe bounce back and forth between them. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this one.
I hope too, since they did do this big push for live service games and be like, oh, this is the future of gaming and this is where we're going to put our resources and everything, that they actually support Concord and allow it to develop, and maybe like word of mouth, and it gets better and better, more like features and options and quality of life stuff and everything like that, rather than like, oh, it didn't do Fortnite numbers, so we're going to go ahead and axe it, and it's just not going to exist anymore. You can't play this game ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's like maybe, I don't know what you could have done different. Like, obviously, there's people that don't like the art style, that's fine. People that don't like the 5v5 hero shooters. Again, the money thing. Like, I'm surprised. I'm curious how quick it'll be part of like a PlayStation Plus extra tier, to where you have to, not necessarily the base tier, but like extra, and you can get it for free. Or will it go on sale? Like, I didn't see like a Labor Day sale. I thought maybe like, oh, it hasn't been out that long. Maybe they would do a quick sale for it. But yeah, depending on, I'm curious how quick it'll go to PlayStation Plus, maybe for like a month or something. But
and if that'll generate enough word of mouth to be like, to give them the spike in playership that they need.
Yeah, because that's at least with like, I mean, I have no issue with it being $40. It's like, because you get everything, you don't have to unlock, you get all the future content for free, or not free, but you get all the future content because it's part of that price, up for however long they currently have planned. And it's like, I don't mind spending money on something. But the other downside you get is if something's not free to play, it's hard for people to, especially for a multiplayer game, to get in there and try it to see if they like it. You know what I mean? Like one of the things that kind of stops me from playing Helldivers is I'm interested in playing it. I played the first one, so I'm interested in playing this one, but I'm like, I have to commit full price, or not full price. I think it's $40 as well. But it's like I have to buy it, and then it's like I also know that at too much time has gone by now to where a lot of people who played it initially from launch, like because it became so popular, like they're all like way past level. I'll be like, starting fresh. I also don't have that many people that are currently playing it, so it's like I can't just jump in. What's queue time's going to be like? Probably not bad, but it's like I'm just going to be solo. Like not that many people I know are still playing. Helldivers 2. But if like this had a lot of games do like free weekends, I feel like it's really common this gen, and also part of last gen as well. It's like, oh, free weekend to play. Ubisoft does a lot too. Like, oh, you can play Assassin's Creed free this weekend, or you can play Skull and Bones or a Far Cry game for free over the weekend, like co-op and what have you. Like they do that a lot. It's like that would be interesting if they did like a free weekend to have people try. Because obviously, yeah, sure, there was the beta, but they've changed stuff from the beta to the launch version. So it's like, okay, just play the finished version. And it's like all the free gunners are unlocked from the jump, so just let them try them all. Like there's fun stuff in there, like a lot of system stuff I like in Concord that I think is cool and sets it apart from other multiplayer games that I've played. But yeah, you got to try to get it in more hands, like to have people actually play it. And I feel like you need to do like free weekends or something. But
yeah,
especially because you have no refund policy on PS5, so it's not like people can go in, try it for a couple hours, and see if they like it. It's like they can do that on Steam, but then it's just whatever. They're not going to do it because they already hate you, and you need a PlayStation account to play it. So it's like people are mad about that already. But yeah, we'll see.
I feel like that should be standard practice for live games at this point. Like, just charge for the game, $40 for the game, whatever. Maybe charge for like season pass, DLC maps, whatever your like model is, but have like a free weekend every now and then, either near launch or like a few months after launch, to get people interested in at least trying it without the commitment of buying it. Like the demos.
a free weekend launch, like that could be interesting. Like, hey, this game is out, play it this weekend for free, and then once that free weekend's over, go ahead and if you want to keep going, give it a shot, because you get more people would actually try it, and that could increase the amount of people that would have bought it if you didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I feel like that'd be such an insane marketing push. I don't know anybody that would do that, but it would make total sense. Like, and now the downside too is that if you do that free weekend, people like when they play it, if they have the time, it's like, okay, because there's nothing worse than reading like a Steam review that's like, oh, they played it for half an hour and like this game's trash. I'm like, you played it for a fucking half an hour, bro. Like,
did you even get into a match in that half an hour? Like, what are you doing?
Like, you gotta play like at least, like they always say, like, oh, the game doesn't get good until 10 hours in for like single player stuff. But like for multiplayer games, like, no, you need to spend more time, learn all the different, free gunners, their abilities, kind of get an idea for like, okay, if I see this person, I'll run this person. Know the crew bonus system, this, like there's, learn some maps maybe, just give it a shot, try all the modes. Like you can't do that in half an hour. Like even 2 hours wouldn't be quite long enough, but it's just like, you need more time to really get a feel for it. But anyway, it's just, yeah, free weekends. I feel like you got to just do more of those. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead. And the other thing that happened this week was Nintendo had an Indie Direct showcase, I believe, or Nintendo Direct broadcast. I think Xbox calls it an Xbox Indie Showcase. But anyways, they had a Direct. It was like all indie games. A lot of stuff that was shown will be on other platforms. I didn't watch it. I saw like the list of stuff. I know one of the things that I saw was the Castlevania Dominus collection. I was watching a fellow, I almost said fellow Twitch streamer, someone I watch on Twitch play it, and he picked up, because like it came out like immediately that day, and he picked it up on and was playing through some of that, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, because I never played any of those games. I mean, aside from like after Symphony of the Night, like I didn't play any other Castlevania games because it seemed like a lot of them were either handheld or just I didn't play them, or like they went 3D on like with, was it Donosaur? No, Donosaur was this one. It's what was the one that went 3D? I think Patrick Stewart was one of the voices. What was the one?
Oh God, I don't.
Castlevania Shadows.
On
Lords
PS2?
of Shadow. Yeah, Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2, right? That's what it was. Like you were Dracula, I think, in those games.
Yes. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. Like I never played those, like, because I feel like they went 3D pretty quick, and I was like, okay, I'm not interested anymore. And there's like so much to play back then. Also, after Symphony I was still a kid, so it's like, I can't just play every game that comes out. I gotta like, hey, gotta get this for my birthday. Like you gotta pick and choose, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I didn't play much. So I saw that and like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to play. That was there. They announced Civ 7 for coming to the Switch. I'm really curious how that's going to perform. Civ 6, like I have Civ 6 on the Switch and it performs fine. Long load times when you first get into it, but
yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I know Yakuza Kiwami's coming to the Switch. That's, of course, the remake of the first game. And then the bunch of, I don't want to call it Balatro crossover DLC, which is like card skins for a bunch of different, like Dave the Diver, that one game that everybody loves, Vampire Survivors, and then Among Us, Witcher 3, weird stuff. But yeah, you said you watched it, and there's some things that kind of stood out to you. What were some of the Xya games that were at the showcase?
I think the biggest thing, like the thing that made me squeal out loud at work while I was watching it, was the Sea of Stars DLC.
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be a free DLC too, and it's not coming out until next year. But that was, I mean, I don't necessarily follow dev news and game news like I used to, like very closely or anything like that. But it was kind of like out of nowhere, and it was just like, here's a thing, it's going to be free. That was super rad, and I'm so excited. I love that game so much, and I have the physical edition now. I bought like the special edition that what was it, like Retrobit or 8-bit did something, I don't remember, but I have that too because I adore that game so much. So that's probably the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because I was after I saw that announcement, I was going back and like looking like, oh, what do I have that? Because I'll get into it later. Like I've been streaming, and I was like, what could I have that I could play that would be something I haven't played yet that could be a fun like stream game? And I was like, oh, I do have like Sea of Stars because it was on PS Plus, but it was on PS Plus Extra because I was going through my game library and like just making sure I had stuff taken off of the external and back onto my 2 main drives, and it had the PS Plus icon next to it, but it had a lock. I was like, huh, that's weird. I'm like, oh, because I think it was part of PS Plus Extra and it's no longer in the library. Because typically, if it's part of PlayStation Plus just in general, once you add it, you have it forever.
Yeah.
But if it's part of Extra, it's only in there as long as it's kind of like Game Pass. Like it's only in there as long as it's part of the catalog. So I couldn't add that, and there was like a couple other games too that I was like, oh, I had it downloaded, like it's fully installed. I can't play it. So I'm like, okay, then I'll just delete this off my hard drive. Which is fine. Like I can always go back, and if I want to, I have Sony games I need to play. But it was just like, I was like, what does this lock mean? And it's like, you want to buy it? And I was like, oh, I guess it was PS Plus Extra. But yeah. The one game I did see that, and I don't play these games at all, but I thought if I did, this looked like it would be kind of fun. It's called Date Everything.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious. It's like, oh, this is like, it seems like it would be making fun of the genre in a lighthearted way, like we like the genre, and so we're just kind of poking a little fun at it, which I think is great.
I love the progression of visual novel from like Hatoful Boyfriend to what was it, like it's like a roguelite, but the weapons that you get turn into people and you can date them. Kind of game.
Yeah.
Weapons. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, I forget what that one's called. Someone from MinMax was playing it. Oh, I wish. I don't think Sarah Pazorski was playing it. I think it was oh man, I can't remember who was playing it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so now it's just like, fuck it, just whatever, just date everything. I love that progression, and like surprisingly, a lot of VAs that I follow are involved in it. So I don't know, I might play that. It seems very funny and interesting.
Yeah, Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yes, Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. But yeah, that I saw that and like that looks kind of funny. But yeah, there's a couple of stuff. Yeah, not a whole lot else that was really huge. Metal Slug Tactics, that's coming in the fall. Pizza Tower's coming to Switch. But yeah, not a bunch of.
I know that they're porting Cuisinier to Switch. It's like, what's that game? Why am I blank? Moonlighter. like Moonlighter, but with you run a little restaurant, and like during the day you go out into like a roguelike type dungeon and gather ingredients and stuff, and then you come back and run your little restaurant. I've seen a few people play that. It looks very cute.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple little ones, Europa and Star Overdrive. Those look very fun. Europa's like a, I always say like me-coded game, but it is a very me-coded game where it's just like a cute little, like explore the environment, no real like dialogue, it seems like, and you solve little puzzles and just gives me like Journey vibes, kinda.
Yeah.
Just a cute little world with a cute little guy walking around exploring and stuff like that. And then Star Overdrive is like kind of the same thing, but it's on Zoomies. You have like a little hoverboard thing that you can customize. That looks really fun.
Yeah, the thumbnail or the YouTube like screenshot for the video, like it looks good. Like it looks like, oh, this looks really interesting. Like when you look at it just from the, because it's like probably just concept art. They put there, it looks pretty good. But yeah. And then I know people were excited for that Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
Oh God,
Arcade
yes.
Classics.
Gonna take you for a ride.
So many people I know, like the dude that was watching was playing Castlevania Dominus Collection. He was excited for it. One of my old FF11 buddies was really excited for it. But
the most hilarious thing was that was the biggest hype that I saw on my like Instagram followers because I follow a lot of drag queens, and apparently there's a lot of drag queens that love Marvel vs. Capcom.
Nice. Like, that's my jam.
I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll maybe if there's some kind of online component, or maybe if we all just collectively decide to go back and play it online together, maybe I'll get to play against Bitch Pudding or something. Like, neat.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, there wasn't too much going on. A lot of just follow-up stuff from Gamescom. Not a whole lot of news breakdown. I think we're at like the 9th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid 5. Happened.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that number.
Yeah. But yeah, not too much else. Trying to see here if I had anything in my notes that was nope, that's my shopping list. I don't think I have anything that's related to other news. Yeah, it's just stuff I can talk about later. But all right, well, I guess we can go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. I saw, aside from Honkai Star Rail, I don't think I saw you in 14. Yeah, it seemed like you're doing your normal bounce between the two.
Yeah, I was playing 14 a lot yesterday. 1 second, my cat. Francis, come here.
He's going crazy.
I don't know what his problem is. I was playing 14 a lot yesterday. Just, I really want to get Dragoon leveled, and I got it to 98, I think, so I only have a couple levels left on it. I did post in the Discord, like I just kind of was like zooming out in Alliance Roulette last night, and apparently I was doing so well that somebody called me out about it and was like, oh, MVP that Dragoon, and I was the only Dragoon in Alliance, and I was like, oh god, what did I do? They're like, no, you're just the only person who hasn't died to anything yet, because everybody keeps fucking wiping.
He basic jump.
Yeah, basically happy to know that I finally developed some kind of muscle memory just in time for me to not probably play the job until the next level cap. I don't know, I don't typically main or really play melee jobs very much because it hurt my hand. So I've just been doing that, but other than that, popping on and doing like roulettes and dailies and stuff every now and then. I've been playing on my tablet this game called sort of Convallaria. I guess it just came out not too long ago, but I don't know, maybe a few weeks, maybe last month. I don't know exactly. I just one of the VAs that I follow on Twitch, he was talking about it, so I went and downloaded it, and it's actually really good so far. I'm not like super far into it. I haven't dumped like consecutive hours worth of it. I just kind of like played on my lunch break at work or before bed. But it's like a pixel tactics RPG. Obviously, it's got like gotcha elements to it, and you have like energy, so you can only do so many battles a day and stuff like that. You know, the typical mobile game bullshit. But the way that it kind of like develops the story and progresses the story is really interesting, and I'm actually interested in the story, despite not being super far into it at this point. Like I want to continue unlocking it and continuing forward. So it's been really good, like shockingly good. I'm consistently surprised at how good mobile games are to an extent. Like if you find the right one and you get into it, you're like, oh, this is maybe just something that, I can play for an hour a day, or just during lunch, or if I'm in a waiting room or something, I can pop on and do it. And then like looking at Honkai Star Rail, logging onto it every day for hours a day and being like, I gotta get to the next thing. The story is so good. What is happening? Kind of thing. And I feel like I've kind of got that with sort of Convallaria now. But yeah, I've just been playing that. It's pretty cute. The art is cute. The pixels are cute. It's got a talking cat that looks like Francis. So I named it Francis. So now I have a real sassy Francis and a virtual pixel sassy Francis constantly griping at me. So, but
Nice.
yeah, that's been pretty much all I've really been playing. Is still watching Michael play Wukong every now and then. I just haven't really found anything else that I want to start next. I know I have a lot of stuff that in my backlog, obviously, that I own that I need to play. I just don't know what I want to get into right now. And I feel like I need to play something in my backlog and finish it before I buy and play Fields of Mystria, because that's just going to add to my backlog, and I know that I'm going to be completely obsessed with that and neglect everything else. So I need to just pick something and play it. But I will probably just continue to play Sword of Convallaria on my tablet.
Yeah, I was kind of running into that too. I'm like, man, I gotta, because I was like, oh, Star Wars Outlaws is gonna come out. I was like, I want to play that, and I was like, but man, I got other stuff I could play too. I'm like, okay, well, I was like, I'll just try to juggle. Like, luckily, I'm in a spot where I can kind of juggle some stuff. So I've been playing like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take Friday off, and last day of the month, and I forgot that Monday was Labor Day. I was like, oh, let's take it off. It's been a like crazy month, and then I'll just play and stream like Star Wars Outlaws all day. And but I was like, oh, what am I gonna play ahead of time? It's like, okay, so I played some Concord, but then I was like, oh, I want to play. I want to go back and play Star Wars Midnight Sun or Marvel's Midnight Suns and finish the DLC, because I started the Deadpool DLC, but I never finished it. So I was like, okay, I got 4 chunks of DLC for that game, because I guess I must have paid for the premium pass at some point in the past. And so I went in and finished the Deadpool DLC, then I did the Venom DLC, then the Morbius, and now I just started the Storm DLC last night. I think I did two missions as Storm. I did one story mission, because it's like only 3 story missions for each of the ones. But the way the game works is like, when you do a story mission, you have to do a side mission first before you can unlock and do the story mission again, which is nice because each of the side missions, like every side and story mission usually has like this character in your group, in your team has to go. So the benefit of having the side missions would be like, when you beat them, usually you unlock essentially an item that you gives you like a hand of more cards, and you pick the 2 cards you want. So it's like, oh, I like using this hero, but I want more cards for their deck, so I'll go run a side mission where they're either required or I could just bring them along, and then you just beat it, get some new cards, upgrade their deck, yada yada. So it's nice to be like, oh, if this DLC is focused on Venom, okay, I'll try to unlock some Venom cards. I'll maybe make some. Unfortunately, you can only make the ones you've already known, so you can't. The only way to get new cards in the deck is to actually take them out in the missions. And I'll like, okay, upgrade their cards and yada. Because I'm also playing like the second hardest difficulty. Because I was like, when I went back into it, that the first mission you play in the Deadpool DLC, like you only play as Deadpool and Blade, and I was like, I can't play this on the hardest difficulty like I was in the campaign, because I haven't played in so long, and there's only 2 people. And when you first use the new characters, they don't have like the best versions of their cards. And if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, you need the best versions of your cards, and also modding some, because you can mod some cards too. Like you can augment them with like, oh, you do 50% more damage, or on redraw you get HP back, or something. Like these other little bonuses like are very helpful on the hardest difficulties. And it was just like, it was super tough in on that mission. And part of that was because I also wasn't paying attention to one of the mechanics. Like, it was essentially, it's all the DLCs have like the same story arc. Like, there's these vampires come around, vampires of the Y, and they're like, you're trying to find like, what the hell's, why are these vampires everywhere? And the mission type was like, oh, don't let the vampires attack the civilians. Like, the civilians are on the battlefield and you have to take them down. And I didn't realize that the timer next to the stopwatch underneath their name meant like that, even if they're targeting like Blade or Deadpool, that meant that once that timer hit, which is counts down every card play, means that's when they're going to attack a civilian. And I didn't realize that because in my head I was like, I knew that meant they were going to attack because there's a similar mechanic called Frenzy, which allows enemies to, like, typically the way you do is you play 3 cards per turn, as well as whatever you can do in the environment and all the other abilities that you kind of unlock as you play the game. And once you play the 3 cards, you end your turn, then the enemies do their turn, very much like, Magic. I do my hand, you do your thing. Mm-hmm. But there's a frenzy mechanic where, like, oh, this enemy, after 5 turns, they'll just attack. So if you manage to get, like, 5 card turns, which you can do with, like, quick cards, so, like, if you kill an enemy with the card and it's quick, you get that play refunded. So, like, if you play 5 cards, that enemy just attacks instead of having to wait for the turn. And I thought that's what the stopwatch meant. I didn't realize that the stopwatch meant that, oh, this is when they're going to attack the civilians. So I kept failing that mission. It was just such a pain in the butt. I should have just hovered over the enemy and it would have told me, like, this is how many turns until they hit. But it'd been so long since I played, I didn't even think about it. But anyways, I had a really fun time playing that. Like, it turns out, like, the main bad in that is Dracula. I guess Dracula's in Marvel, because why not? And I had, like, the craziest fight against him, because, like, the way bosses work in that game is, like, you have to down them twice. So, like, you down them once and then you just get down for the rest of that turn, and then they don't attack on the next turn, but they get back up full health again. And so you got to do it twice. So I fought him once already in I think it was the Venom DLC, and then you fought him again in the Morbius DLC, but it was like, this is like, the story's kind of culminating in this, like, oh, this is what he's going for in the storyline, and then you go and fight him. And it was like a really tough fight, and I end up, Blade gets downed, and I had to take Morbius gets downed, and then it's just me and him, the MC versus Dracula, and I just had, like, I just played my hand perfectly for 2 rounds in a row, and I beat him, and it was just like skin of my teeth just to beat this guy. I was talking about it on with some people when I was streaming it, that it does this thing where I had one round where it's like I had to protect, like, an object, essentially. So each of the enemies on the battlefield, they have, like, an icon over who they're going to attack, so like, oh, if Blade has low HP, let's take out all the guys that are attacking Blade. So you kind of, what's going to happen. And then they have an icon for, like, an exclamation point. That means this person's going to attack the object you're trying to protect. So you kind of focus those guys. Anyways, I'm doing this thing. It was like I had to survive, like, 4 rounds of keeping this object from being destroyed. And I failed it. In the very end, it was the last guy, and I just couldn't do enough damage to stop him before the round ended, and I ended up losing. And the problem is, the way the game works is, like, if you restart the encounter, your card draw is exactly the same. So on one hand, it's beneficial because like, oh, I know exactly what cards are coming. If I do, like, a redraw or I just play them, I know exactly what I did. Maybe I could just change the order of operations. Like, maybe I had one point where I made a mistake where, like, Blade was downed, but I played a card that basically gives all my characters, like, a shield points. But I was like, why didn't I get Blade up before doing that? So I knew, like, oh, if I come to that again, remind myself, revive the person that's downed, then use that to give them the shield. Or, like, I might, like, play a card wrong or whatever, like, oh, I meant to attack this enemy in this order to maximize the effectiveness of the card. But the problem with that round was, like, every card I drew had a mana cost, but you don't start with any mana. So I'm like, I can't play anything. And then I could redraw up to 2 times, but when you do that, like the first time around, only one of the two cards is an actual like useful card. And so it was just like on the second go round, I had to deal with that same problem. Like I had to start with a bunch of mana cost cards, the same exact ones. I'm like, I know how this is going to start. It's going to be tough, but I managed to get it. But just like, it's such a weird thing that like, oh, I get it to where it's like, hey, we'll keep everything the same. So you just change your strategy versus entirely new cards. But I wish there was an option to be like, I want to just shuffle the deck and give me a new set versus keep the deck the exactly the same. Like I wish like the first time you restarted, if you had to, it's the same. And like maybe the second time it's like, okay, we'll shuffle it up. Like we realize, okay, maybe you're having trouble with the specific cards that you've got. It's funny. The trending Twitter posts are Kojima and then murdered. And I was like, what? It just looks really funny. But yeah, having a lot of fun playing Midnight Suns. I'm probably going to finish up the Storm TLC tonight. But and then yeah, I did start I started Concord. I started Star Wars Outlaws, played that for a bit. I'm not too far because like the opening section like takes a bit, and now I'm at the point where I got off like a planet, and I like have to fix my ship, and there's some bad guy factions you're trying to work for. It's interesting though because it's like I guess you can, and they have this mechanic where like if you side with one faction, it like decreases your standing with the other ones. It's like, okay, that's fine. It makes sense. It's like one of the very first missions, like you steal some intel, and it's like, okay, what are you going to do with that intel? Do you want to give it to this faction or this faction? And like, well, I was like, I'll just go with this faction. So I do the choice. But then it's like, okay, now my standing with that other faction is bad. But I ended up infiltrating their place because I had to go, because then it was like, oh, you need to get this item. You can get it from either of these factions have it. Now I could take the easy route and just walk through the faction I've got rapport with, and it's an easier time to get to where I need to go to steal the item, or I can go to the one that's a little harder because I have to sneak around more because they don't like me and they're going to yell at me for being in their space. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll just go to the one. I don't want to ruin the faction I'm with. Let's just, I'll keep them in good standing. I'll just go infiltrate the other one, do that. Don't get caught, steal it, whatever. But then I learned when I did that they have a vault in their headquarters that is open to 3 keys, and I can find the 3 keys out in the open world. But all the 3 keys are in areas they control. So as soon as I go in the areas they control, if they see me, they immediately go hostile. But every time I kill any one of their people, it's like your reputation goes down. I'm like, I'm like, okay, so I can try to sneak, and it's like really difficult to get through the entrances and sneak sometimes. But I'm like, this is tough. Like I wish I was friends with them, found out about the vault, then I could just easily go get the keys I need and then rob from them. So it's like, man, I chose the wrong faction to side with at the start of this game. But it's funny, there are some glitches. I ran into a glitch where it was like they're like, you hear on the radio, you overhear like this Empire ship's coming down. They're like, hey, we found some smugglers who have a bunch of Empire stuff. We got to get it back. And you're like, ooh, I could go watch that fight and then just steal the stuff for myself. So I go up to where it is, and their little ship lands, and all the stormtroopers get out, but they get out like 10 feet underground, so they're just stuck below the ground, and so they can't do anything. So I'm like, where are all the troopers? And I do like this listening mode thing, and it's like, oh, they're just underground. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll kill these smugglers and take all their stuff. But it was just really funny. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not too far. They have 2 different types of hacking mini games. They have the one I posted in Discord where it's like not Sudoku. It's like Wordle.
Yeah.
Where you just pick some symbols, and I wish I could. What's the name of it? There's an old game where it's like it's a pegboard of different colored pegs, and like one person creates like the 5 color order they have, and then you try to guess it. There's an old board game, because like this style, like Wordle is like it's not the first of its kind, but I don't remember what that board game is called. That colored peg game. I'll look it up while I'm talking. But
it's
they
like
have
a game that would be at the a game that would be at like a bar or something.
Not at a bar, like it's just something you would. It was like like from the 80s.
I mean, you see that stuff like on the tables at bars and stuff like that. Oh
yeah, it's this game. I guess it's called the Codebreaker board game. I'll put it in chat. But that is not what I wanted. Just there it goes. Okay, it's all Nint. I was like, why does it say Nint? It's like I guess I typed Nintendo earlier. or I told you, but it's like that code breaker board game. Like you just tell them like, oh, hey, you have, this is how many you have right, this is how you have wrong, or in the right spot, or correct colors but in the wrong spot. So it's been around forever. Yeah. So they have that variant of the game, but what's annoying about it is that when you pick one and it goes out, it doesn't let you still highlight the one you picked and just not be able to pick it. It just jumps it. So when you're clicking, it just jumps. And it's just like the way you, from a UI standpoint and a usability standpoint, it's just super frustrating. Like it was driving me crazy when I was doing it. And then I like the concept because I like that game style, just like especially because like you only get so many guesses and there's a lot of symbols you could pick. Luckily, I haven't failed one. But so it's fun. It's like I like that kind of like, oh God, I gotta choose which one I'm gonna choose. But then there's one where it's like to pick a lock, it's like you put this thing and it spins and there's a beep that plays. And it's kind of like Guitar Hero, like you're supposed to hit R2 like with the beeps. But the problem is there's like, you can't calibrate it like you can Guitar Hero. So like sometimes I'll hit it, but it's not perfectly timed. So it's like, oh, you failed. So I gotta like hit it ahead of time. I'm like, man, just let me calibrate this. Like I don't mind it. And I think you can turn it off, like just skip it entirely in the settings. I might end up doing that. Mm-hmm. But it's just such a weird mechanic. I'm like, just let me calibrate it so when I hit the button, it actually goes. But anyways, and also like I turn off the trigger effects in that game. But when I'm on the speeder bike, it's like the trigger effects are still a little bit there on R2. And I'm like, just turn off. I don't want the trigger effect on, man. Go away. But
weird.
Anyway. But yeah, I like the Nyx character, the little alien creature you have. That's fun because it's like they can go grab stuff for you. They could steal stuff from people. They can open doors. You've only had like one or two spots where it was actually useful. To do that, but like you can send them to distract people, which is fun. Distract security cameras, which is cool. So it's like a fun little mechanic to do. They can fetch weapons for you, so that's fun.
And he's just a cute little guy.
Yep, and you can pet him, cute little dude. You can also pet like all the alien wildlife. Like there's these little alien gophers, and you can just pet them.
So. Excellent.
But yeah, it was weird. There's like one point where, like, I go into this. It's like, oh, you should go talk to some guy. You crash on this planet in the beginning, and it's like, oh, this guy finds you. He's like, oh, you should go talk to this person. He's like the leader of this one faction. And like, so you got to go see him. So you talk to the bartender of the place where he's at, and like, oh, I'm here to see so and so, and they'll be like, no, you can't see him. You're not on the list, or I don't know you, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you're on your way in, there's like a dude that's like, hey, you looking to talk to Dorak? I think that's his name. It's like, I can sell you a VIP ticket to go see him, whatever it costs you. Like, it's like 50 currency. And I'm like, but this is like when it first went, I'm like, oh, sure, whatever, I'll buy it. And I buy it, and he's like, all right. Oops, sorry, they're telling me that some of my stuff is not available at the store. I'll check it later. So he's like, all right, there you go. And I go down and I talk to the bartender, and the bartender's like, oh, you can't see him. I'm like, I got this VIP ticket. And they laugh, and it turns out I've been scammed. And I go back, of course, the guy's gone. I'm like, okay, so I'm out $50. And then I'm like, so I have to find another win. So I go around and I see that there's an NPC trying to fix an elevator that goes down to the area where this boss is, like one of the different entrance. And I'm like, this dang thing, blah, blah. And like, because you're someone who like a mechanic essentially who's been fixing stuff, you're like, hey, I could help you fix that if you want. But then they don't know you, so they don't trust you. But you can, if you want, you could bribe them to let you fix the elevator, which is so weird. But it's like, I didn't have enough money because I paid the con man to stuff. So I was like, I couldn't do that option. But it's like, I said, okay, never mind. They told me to get lost. And I found a different way down there. But I was like, I like the idea. Like, I wish he didn't show up immediately. I wish it was like, you talk to the bartender first and they're like, you can't see Dorak. But then he overhears it and he's like, hey, psst, you want to go see him? I can get you a VIP ticket. Like, I wish the opportunity came up after the bartender, because then I could be like, then the side quest becomes find a way to meet Dorak. And so you have to run around and explore, either find the actual path by sneaking around, going through vents, yada, 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 and getting down there. Or you could find the person fixing the elevator, or the dude, quote unquote, selling a VIP pass, which doesn't end up working. So it's like, then it becomes the choice. Like, oh, I found two people. Like, here's one option. I'll keep exploring. Oh, here's a second option. Which one do I want to do? They both cost money. Oh, well, this one's cheaper. Oh, this one's a lie. Okay. Teaches you about the world. It was a little frustrating that they did it like from the jump. Although you could refuse. So I'm sure most players probably refuse the guy when they first go in, and then the bartender rejects them, and then they go back to him. But it's like, I wish it was, the interaction was different, because I feel like it would have flowed better from a gameplay standpoint if it was overhearing that conversation and then calling the player over. But yeah, aside from that, no, it's I'm enjoying it so far. Again, I gotta play some more, but I'm not too far in. I'm still on that plan. I can't even get off the planet yet to go out and explore space. But it was funny. Like, so light spoilers for the beginning of the game, but like I was listening to a podcast and there was someone on there from IGN who was talking about how, like, so when you're on the starting area as K Vess, there's like this bartender, and you like sleep in one of the rooms above the bar where it was like you have a room there. And like clearly they know each other. And anyways, you go and do this heist. It kind of goes bad. You come back and he's kind of like, you're like, oh, I forget his name. I hope he doesn't know about the thing going south, but it turns out he does know, and he kind of, he's a little upset with you, but he's not mad, but he's like, okay.
He's not mad, he's disappointed.
Yeah, he's disappointed. And then like some people find out that, oh, hey, I'm looking for this person. Are they here? And he's like, nah. And then someone's like, I hear someone upstairs. And like he gets shot in the leg by a blaster. The guy shoots him in the leg. But then he still kind of helps you. And the person from IGN was like, I wish they would have explained the relationship between these two characters, because they reference getting shot in the leg and it not being as big of a deal for the bartender, the bar owner, because of, even though it was Kay's, fault for doing this thing. And I'm like, do you need everything explained? Because they even said like just a little line of dialogue, like, oh, I've known you since forever. I'm like, do you really need that to know that, okay, clearly they have a deeper relationship than just the dude that owns the shop and you live there because he's still covering for you? Mm-hmm. Like, you can kind of infer. And then when you go later and you get to some part, like not long after that, there's a flashback where you see Kay with her mom teaching her how to steal something, and she ends up meeting her mom back at that bar with that guy. So it's like, okay, clearly he knew her mother. Her mother probably dies. He takes her under his wing, and he just doesn't want her to get into the same kind of trouble that him and her mom used to back in the day. And that probably led to her like a botched, smuggling job or something like that. Like, that's why he's protective of her, because he's an adoptive daughter. Like, but which you can kind of infer from the beginning, and then they tell you, or imply it heavily in a cutscene not long after. So it was just so weird that someone like, hey, this 30-hour game, they didn't tell me about this relationship within the first hour. I don't understand. I'm so confused.
Like, you need it all front loaded as if it's not some kind of like, narrative trope to be like, oh, these characters clearly have some kind of deep relationship. I wonder if I'll ever learn about it. And then you get little trickles of it throughout the game.
Yeah, like, complain about it if they never touch on it ever. Or like Sahothranthropus just floats off in the distance with Psycho Mantis and Liquid Snake. But like, you can complain about that because that never gets touched on. But yeah,
I wonder what they thought about the beginning of Last of Us 2.
Yeah, right. And what happened? Yeah, but
who the hell is this?
Yeah,
I guess we'll never know.
But yeah, I'm having fun. Looking forward to getting back into that. And then it was funny. So I was playing it. I had some time on Saturday. I was playing. I was like, I kind of want to. I was like making a list of like all, again, like I talked about earlier, like all the different games I could stream. And I was like, you know what? I know since they announced Sniper Elite Resistance, I was like, I never did finish Sniper Elite 5. I was like, I should go back in and like play that. So like I transferred it from my external back onto my PS5 hard drive so I can play it. And I hopped in, and I'm going through like kind of, get my sea legs back in that game, because I haven't played it in a while. Like, a lot of it came back pretty quick. And I was at the start of a new map or new level. So I was like, okay, I'm at the very beginning. I'm not like in the middle of something, so I don't have to worry about being like, what the fuck was I doing? Had fun, get back into it. And then like someone, like there was only like 5 people streaming that game at the time, or 5 viewers, I should say. So probably just like one person with 5 viewers or something like that. And some dude pops in my chat, and he's like, oh, you should try. I was like, in a bush. And he's like, oh, you should try doing the focus mode, and then throw a bottle to distract them. And I was like, and one it threw me off. I was like, is focus mode on authentic? Because typically I'll play like the damage and the sniping difficulty I put on like authentic, to where you get like no help at all, and then the damage you take and enemy awareness, like I like having that all at the highest difficulty. But then like I'll have some UI elements.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought focus mode typically is turned off in authentic, but because I customized the modes, like the minimap goes away. But I'm like, nah, I still want the minimap. But I'll hide like some of the other stuff to make it more fun. Like I enjoy it more that way. Anyways, and I was like, I'm like, is focus available on authentic? And I hit the thing, but then he's like, well, you're not on authentic because you have the minimap. I'm like, yeah, I know. I play custom difficulty, so I change like all the options, yada yada, and then and this and that. And he's like, giving tips like, oh, one tip I would give is only playing hard. I'm like, yeah, and I was like trying to be nice about it. Like, I played all the other Sniper Elite games. Like I started with Sniper Elite V2. I played 3. I played 4. I played the first couple missions 5. Like I always play them with the custom, like primarily authentic difficulty with a couple UI customizations. Blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, another tip would be like, enemies over 100 meters, use your rifle. If they're below 100 meters away, use your pistol. If they're below 60, use your SMG. I'm like, my guy, I played Sniper Elite, man. This isn't my first go around with this game. And then it was just like, I don't know, man. I thought, I was like, am I muted? I was like, I don't understand. And like, I went to his profile, and like his Twitch profile says like, and because he's like, yeah, I've been playing Sniper Elite since May 22nd, 2022. It was like whatever, like whenever it came out or whatever. I'm like, okay. And I go to his Twitch profile, and it says like, yeah, I've been playing Sniper Elite. I go around and offer people, like try to learn new tips from people who are playing and offer tips. And I'm like, am I going to have to put up the no backseating thing on there? Like, cause it wasn't even backseating. It was like just telling me stuff I already know. I'm like, if you want to do something, be like, hey, oh, this map has a hidden alarm over here. Like, do that. Don't be like telling mechanics I already know about. It was just, It was so weird. Such a weird interaction.
Like basic gameplay mechanics that you probably already know about, considering you're playing on the hardest difficulty with customization. Like you probably know a little bit about the game at this point.
Yeah. It was so odd, man. I was like even when I go in to help people like Liza P, like I'm not saying like, oh, you should do this. Oh, do this. Usually I'm just like, yo, don't sleep on throwables. Also, the shot put's really good if you can't close the gap to stun. Like I'm not like, oh, but make sure you upgrade this weapon, or make sure you do this. Oh, don't forget if they're this, you want to use fire for this enemy. Like I'm not giving those kind of tips. I'm just giving like little helpful things at the start so it stacks over time. Like, oh, this is very beneficial to use throwables or to use this shot put.
Stuff that's like, especially in a game like that, stuff that's like easily forgettable. People get into that like Dark Souls mentality of like, all I have is my whatever weapon I can see on my character.
Yeah, and it's funny. And then when I was streaming on Wednesday after the kids went to bed, I was playing, the Midnight Suns, and I was fighting Dracula the first time, and I was like getting ready right about to beat his ass. And like one of the smaller streamers I follow, who I check in their chat, like they rated me. I think it was like 15 people, and I was like all of a sudden my OBS, I see the Twitch feed just start kitty cats with lightsabers dancing, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, I got raided. I was like, oh, thanks for raiding. I was like, and it totally mind flooded me. I'm like, oh damn, it was like 10:30, 10:40, and I was like, I was gonna leave after finishing the mission, and I thought I was about to beat it. So I was like, oh, I was gonna leave, and like, you can't leave now. And I was like, as a joke, and I was like, oh damn it. I was like, oh. And then I was like, another streamer who I was watching, who was playing Castlevania Dominus Collection, like then he rated me with his few viewers as well. And I was like, it was funny because I was like talking about stuff. I asked, so I asked how his stream was going, the first guy, and yada yada, if he beat a game, because he was playing the last case of Benedict Fox, I think it was called. He was playing that on stream, and I was saying, how to go, yada yada, this and that. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, oh, you're about to see me whip Dracula's ass. So I play the card play, but it's the first time I down him, so I don't win. I'm like, oh dang it, I forgot this isn't how you win. So I like was hyping up me beating him down, and then I didn't do it. But then I ended up staying up till like freaking midnight. Because I was like, oh, I'll just do one more mission, or I'll do a side mission to do one story mission, yada yada. But yeah, it was just funny. I was like, oh, I can't leave now. But yeah, anyways, it was funny. But yeah, I'm just, man, it was fun. Like there's this one Twitch streamer who I was watching, who was playing Concord, and one who I play Concord with as well sometimes. The one who's open to playing with chat, and he has this plugin for Twitch where like if someone comes in and like comments, I don't know if it's like their first comment or what, but like I think it must be like their first interaction. Like the bot will pull up like a featured clip from their Twitch page and play it on the stream. And I was like, I've never seen that before.
Oh,
it's like
weird.
it like gives you a shout out, and then because all of a sudden like I went, I talked, I was like, oh, how's this, blah blah, and all of a sudden it starts playing one of my clips on his stream, and I was like, what? Like I'm like, I wasn't expecting to see that. Like it threw me off. And he's like, oh yeah, I always shout out, the people, this and that. And it was so funny because like there was a streamer I started watching the week Concord came out, that Tuesday of early release. I tuned in. I was like, okay, how many people are playing Concord? There's like 3 people who are streaming it, and one of them had like 10 viewers. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the one who's got the most. As clearly they must have like an established base. So I click on his, and then like over the course of like the next like 2 hours, like a bunch of people started coming into his stream, and now he's got like a lot of and he even talked to like before Concord, like he didn't have a whole lot of folks, but now he's like one of the top Concord streamers, and he kept getting like a bunch of gift subs that day. The devs are in there watching it, and I thought too about like, oh, if I start streaming, like if I come back after playing Baldur's Gate, I should stream Concord just to be like play something not everybody is really playing, yada yada. But I was like, oh damn, I kind of missed the chance. I could have been like jumping and playing here. But anyways, so it was good for him. See him, he was getting all excited about like all the gift subs, all the followers, all the people checking him out and this and that. So it was cool. It was fun to see that live. But it was funny because then it became like his streams for that first week felt very bullet pointy, where it was all like, this is why I like that it's $40, this and that, how it's good, talk about the crew system. It felt like he was reading from a script, even though I know from watching him before, he just really, because he played the betas, like he really likes the game. And I'm like, and I agree with a lot of stuff he's saying, but he repeats it so often because there's a lot of like people who are either indifferent or like haters will come in, because I don't know why people are actually trying to be haters about this game. And so I saw this guy come into,
because they have no lives and no hobbies.
This one guy came into the chat and he's like, okay, so apologies for he doesn't exactly say go crazy, but he's just like, he comes in the chat for the guy I'm watching. He's like, did you know outside of male and female there are 72 genders? And then he stops, doesn't say anything. I'm like, okay, that's a weird chatter. And then after a bit, he comes back and he goes, he says the same thing. He goes, did you know outside of male and female, there's 72 genders, which is more than there are active players in QueerCord. And I'm like, why are you, what the, and then the guy bans him, of course, immediately. And I'm like, and I went to the guy's profile and like, he made the account like a couple days. I'm like, what is wrong in your life that you're like, I have no joy. I'm just going to create an account and go troll people who are enjoying this game. Like, what is your problem, man? Get a life, bro. It's like, it was so weird. I was like,
it's not even trolling. It's just like, you're an incel. Mm-hmm. Go touch grass and maybe pay someone to have sex with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Go find some joy in life, you idiot.
Do something, dude. But it was just so weird. I was like, come on. Like, because it was so weird. Like, even the first, before he, like, the prestige hit with the comment, I was like, this is such a weird comment to post randomly into chat. Like, especially this guy I was watching was like pretty chill dude. But it was funny because then it became like the guy who I was watching there, Mud Cricket, he has his bits, or the way he does his channel points is like for like 200 points, you can like play some random video clip that will play over the stream. But when he initially had it, the opacity of it was like it just overtook everything on the screen. Like, it was like full screen video, whatever. And it's kind of funny, like when it's just here and then, like there's, some funny little clips in there. Some go on for too long. But then, like, he got raided by, I guess, one of his friends who were like, he has like a little Twitch group that he streams with or whatever, or hangs out with. And he gets raided, and then like everyone's just spamming the 200-point redemptions, because that's not a lot of points, of just these different clips. And eventually his stream just became nothing but full screen of these different clips, different redemption things. And like, I was like, I just can't watch anymore because I can't see him actually play the game, and the audio is really loud, so I can't hear him talk a whole lot. And it went on for so long. So it's like, I got 2 streamers playing Concord, one who's just bullet point listing all these things like it's propaganda. And then there's one who I can't even watch because people are redeeming the stuff. And eventually he went in and like changed the opacity down to where you can still see through the videos, stuff like that. Because I asked him, I was like, how long did that go for? Because there's a queue, and he's like, oh, that went on for like 2 hours. I was like, my God. It's like it's so like it's a funny idea, but I'm like, you got to put like a time limit on or a gap between it. Because there's like the one who is playing Castlevania Dominus Collection, he has a redemption where it's like lift the thing 20 times and it's just a kettlebell. He does like 10 arm curls with a kettlebell, but he has like an hour time limit between each redemption for a single person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, when I first had it, someone spammed like a bunch, and I'm like, well, I got a ton of channel points. I was like, you're lucky you got that time limit on, because sometimes I'll like you having a tough time on a boss, and I just hit him with the lifted thing, like do some exercise now while you're having a bad time, as a joke. But
there's
yeah,
a couple streamers that I follow. One of them has a similar thing with the videos where you can redeem points and it plays like a random meme video. And it's always at the most inappropriate time of the
nice.
most inappropriate video, and it's very funny. But there is another one where it's like another one of my streamers that I watch, he has a redemption that it's like you have to compliment him and he has to take it because he's a very like shy person.
Yeah.
So it's like he'll be in the middle of he does a lot of Elden Ring like randomizers and challenge runs and stuff like that. So he'll be in the middle of like rune level 1 Radon or something, and it's like, I'm gonna compliment you now, and it's very funny. He's just like, I can't deal with that. Wait, no. And then he'll die.
That's funny. Yeah, just
very cute, very wholesome.
Yeah, that's good times. I like, he does have one of my favorite ones he has. It's like it's this clip from Rick and Morty where they're watching like interdimensional TV. I think it's like the second time they do that in that show. And but instead it's the TV is cut out and you can just see the stream in the TV. And it's that in the one episode, like it's a commercial, but in the show, like the commercial goes on for like 2 minutes. Like that's the joke. Mm-hmm. So it's just them commenting like, "Oh my God, it's still going," but it's like it cuts back to the TV, but it's just him. You could just see through it him playing the game or doing whatever. And I'm like, it's just it's
cute.
a funny meaning. I wish when he did that, obviously you can't do it because it's an overlay, but it's like it would be nice if like it shrunk the stream down to fit the TV, or if it was like if you could have a specific OBS screen set up for it, like to be like, oh, put the cam in the TV or something like that. So they'd be like, what the heck, and like that would be fun. But that's a fun little one to redeem sometimes. But yeah, it's funny, yeah, because not too many. Trying to think of other channels. And man, and I don't think I complain about it here. I complain about my cousin, but like, I hate when I tune into a Twitch channel that I'm not subscribed to, and it starts with a 30-second ad. I'm like, if I'm a Prime subscriber, like just with Amazon Prime, like one of the benefits for that should be you don't get the ad. Because if I'm trying to tune into your stream, if I have to sit to the ad, I'm not going to wait for it. Like I'm like, no, I want to go quickly see what this is. And it's like, oh, now you get hit with an ad. Like, because one of the guys I follow he does like 3-minute ad breaks, and like he warns ahead of time, like, hey, ad break's coming. He says like, oh yeah, I don't like doing that, tune in and get hit with the ad thing either. I'm like, yeah, because I was trying to like, it's a Deadlock or whatever, that Steam game that was like secret and then just openly was talked about. People playing, I'm like, oh, let's go look at this. And like I clicked on, I think it was like Shroud, and I was like instantly hit with an ad. I'm like, okay, never mind. I will just not do that. And I think at that point, Day 9 had put out some YouTube videos of him playing, and I just went and checked out those. But yeah, just don't. If I'm a Prime member, just let me skip that 30-second one. Like, hit me with the other ads, fine. But just like, there's got to be some incentive, like not get hit with opening ads. It's just so weird.
Especially when it's like the first time you click, you don't even get to see even a snippet of the streamer for a second. It just goes immediately into the ad. Like, just do like a banner ad for the first minute or something and then go into ads.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to subscribe to all of the people that I follow every month. Like,
exactly.
Just give me a break.
Yeah. And it's like, I do like that thing, and I don't know how long it's been a thing, because again, before recently, I typically don't watch Twitch. Like, I watch NL's, either his videos on YouTube, or there's some people that just take the VODs, put them on YouTube, or the librarian will cut them up like, hey, I'll take that 4-hour stream and I'll cut it up into like an hour and 45 minutes of like all the best bits that they think that they've curated, essentially. I'll watch that cut. Yeah. Especially if it's like a game I don't necessarily want to watch, but I'll watch those. But yeah, because I've been watching it, I do like how they do the thing now where if you have the screen open and like goes into an ad, like it minimizes the gameplay up above chat. So you can still see what's going on, like which is nice during like if I'm watching someone play Liza P and they're on a boss, like I want to see if they're going to beat the boss. I don't want to miss it in this 3-minute ad break. You know, they didn't do it. But if a hype train is going on, it overrides the mini player. So then the mini player doesn't show up when there's a hype train, which is really weird. But so I was like, oh damn it, because like I was like, oh where's the thing? They're fighting a boss. I want to see it. And it's like the hype train just stuck there. I'm like, so.
I'm really happy that you have a hype train going, but I also really want to see what you're doing.
Yeah. I also didn't realize that the Twitch affiliate program, like it had to be in calendar day.
Oh yeah, because that's their like payment period is technically from the first to the last day of the month.
Well, it just to initially get affiliate, like you just had, because I think once you get it, you got it. But like to qualify for it, it's like, yeah, you have to within the calendar day. Because I'm like, okay, like obviously, luckily some things carry over, like your followers will stay and stuff like that. Because yeah, when I was looking at the thing, it's like, oh, path to affiliate. It's like, you know, oh, stream. Oh, it's a rolling 30-day performance. Oh, that's good. I look at it now because now it says 8/3 to 9/1. I thought it was going to say 9/1 to 9/30. Okay, so it doesn't start over. It's a rolling 30 days. Okay.
Oh yeah. They don't make you start all over, but has to be like current or whatever.
Yeah, because like stream on 7 different days, that's easy. And it's like stream for 8 hours, that's easy. I got like 23 hours, and then it's like reach 50 followers. I'm like, that's gonna be tough. It says I have 15. I think I have 16. But it's like average 3 viewers. I'm like at 2. But I'm like the problem 2.01. But the problem is like, okay, I had like the raid helped, but I only streamed for like an hour and a half after that. And it's like, if I stream, you know, it's almost detrimental then to stream at any point when you know probably no one's going to be there, because then it's just going to mess up your average viewers in 24-hour stream. But oh well. Yeah, I was looking at that because the only reason I wouldn't mind having that is because there's no transcoding for regular stream, just streaming in general. It's just whatever you stream at is the resolution. So you don't have resolution options for the viewers or in the VOD. It's just because I had that when I was trying to check like an audio issue, and it's like, oh, I can only watch it in 1080p 60 because that's what I streamed it at, and I can't pick like 480 because they don't give transcoding to normal streamers unless they're just randomly as a spot. But if you get an affiliate, you get higher priority on the transcoding. And then, of course, on partner, you get full transcoding. But, oh well. Yeah, I mean, I'll just probably keep doing just because if I'm playing games, why not? But yeah, I was, man, and also, like, I'm, like, complaining about stuff I don't think it can be related to. But, like, on the about, like, so I have, oh, it's playing my audio clip. On my about page, I was like, okay, let's just put some stuff in there. And like, I was trying to put it like, I want it in order. Like I want the about me on the left, my schedule in the middle, and then the rules on the right. But for some reason, like it seems to order it in it. I can't change the order of the panels. Like it keeps putting my rules on the left, about me in the middle, and schedule on the right. And it almost looks like it's ordering it in the order of most characters. Because like the rules is just one line, just says don't be a dick, and then it's like about me is like 3 paragraphs, 2.5 paragraphs, and like the schedule's like, you know, hey, here's when I plan to stream, here's what I'm currently playing, and here's like a huge list of games I would like to put in rotation. And it's just like I wish the schedule, but I want the rules on the right, and I don't know why it won't let me I can't like drag and rearrange them. Oh shit, I can.
I was gonna say I think you can because I did that on my page like a long time ago.
Okay, the way I was doing it previously is I would just add it and then copy one, paste it, and then delete the old one and hope that worked. I can drag. Yeah, there's no indication that you can drag. This is like dragging a column in a pivot table.
Yeah, it's very like
this is not intuitive.
Internet type of
yeah,
thing.
this is not at all. It's like you just click the window and the window disappears. And I just drag it and everything else is shifting. And then I let it go. Okay, never mind. Then forget about this complaint. Note to self, edit it out. No, I'll just leave it in. But yeah, I was like...
Issue resolved.
Anyway. Yeah, issue resolved. I troubleshot it on the spot. It only says 15 followers, so I must have... Maybe I lost one, I don't know. But also the viewing count is weird. Like sometimes I'll be in there and I'll be like, oh, there's 3 people. But it says 1. So I guess like maybe it'll be like, okay, they're tabbed out or they're muted or whatever. But or I'll have like because I have it open on my end so I could see it. I know it counts you if you're watching yourself as one because I just want to make the streams live. But then I had like my buddy was in there talking to me last night, but it didn't update to 2, and then sometimes it would say 2, and sometimes OBS would say 2, and it would say 1. But he's still actively chatting, so I'm like, what the fuck, man? These metrics are all like weird. Like it kept bouncing around from like 1 to 3 while I was playing last night, but like the participants never changed, so it just must be like volume and tab. I'm like, whatever. I don't know, man. It's just weird. But
Sorry.
that was weird. It sounded like a cat scratching his face on it and meowing.
He's absolutely trying to eat my mic.
Yeah, I don't have any other notes there. But yeah. Hoping to get back into more Star Wars Outlaws, and then Astrobot comes out next week. So it's like, okay. I guess
That soon?
Yeah. It's like they're like everyone's playing it already, like all on Twitter. Like people are like, oh, playing Astrobot.
Oh shit, I totally zoned out. I just didn't. Time is an illusion.
Yeah, I'll probably have to stream that. I was talking with someone, and my cousin, I think, like I you know how typically like when a game's coming out, big game, it'll be like the devs will put out like a PC spec sheet. Like if you want to play at 1080p, max settings, this is recommended stuff, 1440, 4K, yada yada. It's like, okay, it's a good metric for, what you can run at. It's like, I wish they had that version, but for single PC streaming, like if you want to play at 1080p and stream it at 1080p 60, this is what we recommend. And like, I feel like that's just only community driven, but I don't know how to find, like, I guess if someone had the Total Biscuit style, does this game run at 60 FPS checklist that he used to have back in the day for PC games, like, I guess they could do like just community, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my setup. I can run this game at 1080p fine or 1440, and this is what I can stream. Like, I wish that existed because I'm like, that's the downside to streaming a game on PC is like, okay, I got to lower the resolution. Okay, what's the most I could do and still stream it? I was talking to my buddy. He's like, cause he used to stream Overwatch and I think 14 sometimes, and he has like a 1060. And I'm like, how? I guess those are, not too intensive. I'm like, Overwatch 2 is new, and dude's like streaming that, and like he's got like an old Intel thing. He's like, 10-year-old CPU or something like that. I'm like, damn, man. It's like, you must be like, and he's streaming at 4500 bit rate. I'm like, okay, maybe, but it's like, that's really internet based, not necessarily going to be how many resources you need. But I was wondering, I wonder if like dual GPU setups back in the day in SLI were like, oh, that's how you do it. You run the game on one GPU and you stream on the other, but people don't dual GPU setup anymore because that support's kind of dropped off. Now you just do single PC or dual PC. And I guess I could stream with my laptop, but I'd have to like change my entire setup. I'm not going to do that. It's like, I'll just lower down to 1080 and just play 1080 Ultra or something like that.
Good, like resource management, I guess. Yeah. You don't have a lot of other resources and eating up stuff in the background. Maybe it helps. I don't know. Yeah. I have a 1050 Ti and I feel like I struggle with everything. So I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there then. I don't have any other notes, and I'm going to ramble on about, what's Craig? Oh, I clicked on Craig. I thought I was like, did Craig stop recording? And I was in the Craig chat, and that was the last time he was just telling me like, hey, it's over here.
Oh, I was like, he's still here.
Yeah, he's still here. I was in the wrong window. But all right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. And hopefully I'll get some more Star Wars in. Hopefully Izzy comes back and he plays some stuff, and then Astrolaria, we'll talk about that. And I'm hoping to get back into Elden Ring because I ran into Mesmer, and I'm like, I was like, can I? But then I was like, I still have a bunch of the map to explore, and I'm sure there's like subterranean stuff I haven't found outside of like just normalized dungeons. I'm like, there's got to be like more, and I kind of want to fight this guy when I have more scad tree fragments. And I was like, how do I? That's why I asked you, like, do I need to beat him to get to the other sections of this map? So I'm assuming I can. I just have to figure out where. So I'll have to just run around and explore.
Yeah, but you can explore the whole map except for one small area before you fight Mesmer. There's just a couple places where the entrances are like hidden, basically.
Yeah, I'll have to just explore and do that. Cause I do want to play that. So I kind of like, if I'm streaming every night, I kind of want to rotate. Like, okay, maybe Monday will be Elden Ring. Tuesday, I'll be done with Midnight Sun soon. But like, whatever game. Wednesday, Star Wars. Like, kind of get into just a rotation, more of a schedule on. Because right now it's kind of just like whatever I'm feeling, but it's like from this pool of games I'm playing. But I would like to at least have like a if I'm going to start doing this, just to have a more set schedule. But anyway. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it there. So thank you all for tuning in. Listen. Thank you, Zai, for joining.
Francis is trying to chew on my mic.
No, I'm
leave
like,
me alone.
It's like, thank you for joining. I'm like, what?
I need to go deal with this. I don't know what his problem is, but he needs attention apparently.
All right. And we will see you all next time.
Bye.
You go deal with the cat in your headset. Later.
Oh my boy. Bye.
Bye.